Well, hello there. This is Tech for Senior for April 3rd, 2023, episode 1 of our 4th year, or episode number 157. Depends on how you want to count them. I'm Hewie Poplock, and I'll be your host today. Ron is here. He's in the background, but he's here. But I am doing the hosting, and Ron is the co-host today. This is a 1-hour show about technology, with a Q&A at the end. And today we're going to be talking about security. And then part 2 of Bob's Amazon tour. Then we'll have a PC, Mac, and laptop ports. And then the unboxing of a mini computer. And of course, followed by our music director, Ray Baxter's music choice of the day. I'd like to introduce those who are here that are part of the staff. We'll start with my co-host today, Ron Brown. Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. I had the week off. It was great.
Yes, I hope you enjoyed the weekend while I was busily putting
had
things
a great
together.
week. Got some gardening done, went for a little bike ride. All is good.
And I have I've got a busy week coming up. I've got the STUG meeting on Wednesday, and Bob G, our own Bob G, is going to be doing his presentation of cybersecurity A to Z for STUG on Wednesday night. And then I have the, we have the Tech for Senior Live on Thursday. And then the CFCS STUG Windows SIG is Sunday. If you're signed up for the Windows SIG from past meetings, you don't have to re-sign up. It's the same link, and I'll be sending a reminder out. And probably today or tomorrow, I'll be sending out the WinSig newsletter, monthly newsletter. So if you aren't signed up for that, go to hewie.net and sign up for it. Let's see, who else is here from our staff? There's Ray Baxter. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing great, Hewie. How are you doing today?
Super. What was your week like?
Not as nearly as busy as yours, but on Saturday I went down to Phoenix and hosted the group of music listeners that meet monthly, and we have a new restaurant, and we're trying to see if we can set up a video there so we can actually show YouTube videos in addition to just listening to the songs we like.
Good. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I'm always anxious to help people start one in their own community. Just let me know.
And let's see, I want to get my gator out of the background here. So hang on one second. And there we are. We're back to normal. And I see Bill James is here. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's going on in your world?
Not much, just keeping busy, playing with my gadgets and just having fun.
And you're on your Mac today, right?
I'm on my Mac today, yes.
Well, good. All right. And Mike Ungerman's here. Mike?
Got it.
Well, there he is.
Got to hit that unmute button.
Yep.
Focusing in on EVs and upcoming tax time.
Yeah, for those of us in the States, we have our taxes due by the middle of this month. So, yeah, that reminds me, I got to do mine too. Although I don't need to, but I do it for 2 reasons. One, I need to have a report for our community office. And then I also want to protect myself. I go ahead and report so no one else steals my account with the IRS. And so I protect myself with that. And Ron, what's going back to you? What's going on with Tech for Seniors that you're working on?
Well, the newsletter this last Saturday, I'm learning how to cook with a wok, and it's great fun. It's easy. It's simple. So the YouTube video I'm watching is called Wok with Tak, T-A-K, and Cooking with a Wok, Dr. Tak Chung, who I think he's from Illinois. He's retired. I don't know if he's a medical doctor. He teaches you how to cook with a wok, and it's real easy to do. His videos are so simple, and he has a massive following. So I put that in as our featured channel on our Saturday newsletter, and that's Wok with Hack. So if you are interested in some cooking skills, be sure and look at our Saturday newsletter, because we have always a featured channel in there.
Yeah, Ron, you do a lot of cooking. Do you have a wok?
Right. Actually, my wife has a wok. And so that's the one gadget I don't have. And so I said, could I learn? So I want to, it's just another utensil, but it's cool technology, and I'm having lots of fun with it.
Do you have an air fryer?
Got an air fryer, got an Instapot. I got them all.
Yeah, I've been real happy with my air fryer.
Air fryer is great. Yeah.
And speaking of the newsletter, we had some pretty good articles this week.
We did. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, www.techforsenior.com, and you can sign up, and you too can get our free newsletter that comes out twice a week.
Right. And each of us do one article a week, and with 2 editions, we split it up. So mine is on Saturdays, and I've gotten some pretty good feedback from some of the articles that I've done. So there are some good articles in there that we spend some time either researching or just posting. But we found some pretty good articles in there. We want to make sure that you are going to to our website, www.techforsenior.com, and sign up for our newsletter if you're not getting it. And it does have the links to all our meetings on top of it. So when you can't remember how to get to us, that's the best way to find us.
And that's a good point, Hewie, is that we don't know who you are. You know who we are, but we don't know who you are. So the only way we really can communicate with you is through the newsletter. So if we have updates or things, our plans of what we're going to do for the week, I put the agenda for today's meeting. There's the Thursday meeting broadcast we have. I put the agenda for that in. All the information is in those newsletters to learn what we're doing. So you really should sign up for that.
Yeah, and I do a newsletter for the WinSig, or the Windows SIG, and that will be going out in the next couple of days. So make sure that you go to hewie.net and sign up for it. I think we also have a link for it on the Tech for Senior site, but if not, just go to hewie.net and sign up for it. Okay, Bob, I think we're ready for the security news.
Here is the Security News Roundup for the week ending March 31st, 2023. New Mac Stealer. Mac OS malware steals iCloud keychain data and passwords. A new information-stealing malware has set its sights on Apple's Mac OS operating system to siphon sensitive information from compromised devices. Dubbed Mac Stealer, it's the latest example of a threat that uses Telegram as a command and control platform to exfiltrate data. It primarily affects devices running Mac OS version Catalina and later running on M1 and M2 CPUs. It's been reported that the Mac Stealer can steal documents, browser cookies, and login information. Make sure you keep your Mac OS updated. Read more at thehackernews.com. Replit and Google Cloud partner to advance generative AI for software development. Under the new partnership, Replit developers will get access to Google Cloud infrastructure, services, and foundational models via Ghostwriter, Replit's software development AI, while Google Cloud and Workspace developers will get access to Replit's collaborative code editing platform. The collaboration will accelerate the creation of generative AI applications and underscores Google Cloud's commitment to nurturing the most open ecosystem for generative AI. For Replit, Already 20 million developers strong, this partnership with Google Cloud is its next move in realizing its mission to empower the next 1 billion software creators. How can developers get the full power of LLMS? End-to-end fast? Enter Replit, powered by Google Cloud Infrastructure and Foundation models under this partnership. Read more on the Replit.com blog. Trojanized Tor browser installers spreading crypto stealing Clipper malware. Trojanized installers for the Tor anonymity browser are being used to target users with Clipper malware designed to siphon cryptocurrencies since September of 2022. Clipper injectors can be silent for years, show no network activity or any other sign of presence until the disastrous day when they replace a crypto wallet address. Vitali ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟, Director of Global Research and Analysis Team for APAC at Kaspersky, said. Read more at thehackernews.com. A frequently returned label warns Amazon shoppers about shoddy products. One persistent complaint about Amazon is that the site can sometimes offer low quality or knockoff items, but it looks like the e-commerce giant is trying to address the problem with a new label that'll say if a product experiences frequent returns. As first reported, open in a new window by The Information, Amazon quietly added a frequently returned item label on select products that have received an inordinate number of returns. So far, the label has been found on a $499 turntable, open in a new window, and 2 summers opens in a new window. Dresses opens in a new window from relatively unknown brands. It appears Amazon is experimenting with the labels, though, because they didn't appear all the time. Read more at PCMag.com. Court orders GitHub to reveal who leaked Twitter's source code. The U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California signed off on a subpoena yesterday. Under the terms of the subpoena, GitHub has until April 3rd to unmask the hooligans that uploaded pieces of the Twitter source code to the GitHub repository. The subpoena specifically requires GitHub to disclose the name, address, telephone number, email address, social media profile information, and IP addresses of any user associated with the account that uploaded the code, which goes by the username Free Speech Enthusiasts. Read more at gizmodo.com. New Wi-Fi protocol security flaw affecting Linux, Android, and iOS devices. A group of academics from Northeastern University and TU Leuven has disclosed a fundamental design flaw in the IEEE 802.11 Wi-Fi protocol standard, impacting a wide range of devices running Linux, FreeBSD, Android, and iOS. Successful exploitation of the shortcoming could be abused to hijack TCP connections or Internet client and web traffic. To reduce the probability of such attacks, it's recommended to implement Transport Layer Security, TLS, to encrypt data in transit and apply policy enforcement mechanisms to restrict network access. Read more at thehackernews.com. Alien Fox malware targets API keys and secrets from AWS, Google, and Microsoft Cloud Services. A new comprehensive toolset called Alien Fox is being distributed on Telegram as a way for threat actors to harvest credentials from API keys and secrets from popular cloud service providers. The spread of Alien Fox represents an unreported trend towards attacking more minimal cloud services, unsuitable for crypto mining, in order to enable and expand subsequent campaigns. Sentinel-1 security researcher Alex Delamotte said in a report shared with the Hacker News. To mitigate threats posed by Alien Fox, organizations are recommended to adhere to configuration management best practices and follow the principle of least privilege. Read more at thehackernews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. There are a lot of Wi-Fi security tips that don't secure your Wi-Fi network against intrusions. So skip them and focus on the security-enhancing tips and tricks that do. Please watch my video on that topic at the link listed. Did you know? During World War II, Lazy Boy manufactured seats for tanks, torpedo boats, gun turrets, and armored cars. I wonder if my recliner was recycled from one of those. Volvo gave away its 1962 patent for their 3-point seat belt for free in order to save lives. Did you know the official bird as of 1983 of Redondo Beach, California, is the Goodyear blimp? Find the good. It's all around you. Find it, showcase it, and you'll start believing in it. Thanks to Jesse Owens. I just thought you might want to know. And that wraps up my security news roundup for this week. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Give
Thanks,
me a
Bob.
second. Give me a
Yep,
second
you've got-
to find
Go
the
ahead.
next video.
And while you're doing that, I just want to thank you. And boy, the bad guys just keep working and plugging along.
Yeah,
So-
unfortunately.
And as quickly as we can find new ways to protect ourselves, they find new ways around it.
Welcome back, everyone. This was the look behind the scenes, and now we're getting right into the question and answer section of our tour. And I'm not going to do that on my own, of course not. I am introducing back you to Kate and Fede so we can take a closer look at the Q&A. So we are happy to answer the questions you have. First of all, we want to say a big shout out to a couple of guests that are calling in from today. And one of our biggest group is actually from Salt Lake City, the Westminster College for Ops Management class. So happy to have you on this tour. Great that you're online today. Hope you enjoyed the tour, and we're happy to answer the question. So still some time left if you want to drop one. However, the first question that we got was the obvious question, Kate. It's about our robots, and one of our guests is asking, like, how does the robot know what's stored in the shelf above it? Like, where's this information saved? There's so much information, but where is actually the resource or the source in general for all of that information we have?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, the robots are really smart, but they're not smart enough to automatically know where everything is stored. We use Amazon Web Services, or AWS, to track all of the data in our building, and that starts with the scanning of barcodes. So every single item that we put away on our shelf has a barcode, and every shelf has a barcode. So we're able to scan the item, scan the barcode of that shelf, and then every shelf itself, every pod, also has a barcode that the robot can scan to know that it's going to retrieve the right shelf with the right product on it. So everything comes back to that magical barcode, which is unique for every item that we have inside of the building.
Perfect. Thank you so much for helping us understand. So you can tell barcodes and scanners, it's the dream team, of course, together with our amazing employees, making it a dream team of 3 in total. So that's a lot of technology we have. Thank you so much. Another question, happy to take on that one. Why do some items get delivered quickly and others take much longer? Well, I need you to understand that we have different ways available here. So maybe taking a closer look at the FBA program in that case as well, which is standing for Fulfillment by Amazon. Whenever you order something online on Amazon.com, .de, .it, just to reference the 3 countries today, it depends, like, where is this item actually stored? So is it a fulfillment center directly? Like, do we have it here on site in our fulfillment centers? Or is the FBA partner maybe just using our online platform, like the virtual storage place, if you want to call it like that? Then they might take advantage of that. However, the shipment is actually going through their own logistics partner, so this might take a little longer. Also taking into consideration that we, of course, differentiate between regular customers as well as prime customers. So for our prime customers, it does get a little quicker. there are so many possibilities of why items are sometimes a lot faster than other times. Of course, we also have an important supply chain management in the background happening, making sure that we always have the items available. If we do get new items that have big demand, let's say a new computer game is being launched and it's available, we do get a lot of orders for that one specifically, so we need to take care of that. We need to focus. So yeah, this is just a couple of options that we have here for answering that question. We hope you do understand that it might differ from time to time, so always taking that into consideration whenever you're shopping online, when you shop on Amazon.
Thank you, Patricia, for answering my question.
Last question, Federica, this is for you, and maybe just referring to the pack department here. What is your experience with continuous improvement? So how did we get better from the past during the last time to today when we take a look at the pack department improving here?
Well, thank you so much. That's an excellent question. And you should know that in Amazon, for us, our motto is it's always day one. So we try to change, and we actually like to change many things and try to get better day by day, step by step too. Sometimes we take new ideas and they become new processes. So we try to implement them as much as we can. For example, in the pack department, one of the examples you might have actually seen from my colleague Carmen while she was packing is that you might have noticed that some packages were placed on the conveyor, so back on the conveyor, directly without any extra Amazon packages. So just with the original packages they had, possibly because they were already ready to go. So we just placed the spool label, of course, later on the shipping label, and they will be just delivered as they are. We do call them here, I don't know if it's a worldwide name, but we call them here as AOC or SIOC, as you like to call them. It's an acronym. It stands for Ship in Own Container, which stands, again, that we're going to ship them in their own container without adding any extra packages. And this will lead us to save a lot of paper, a lot of boxes. So again, sustainability, this is one of our mission, to try to be not just the most customer-centric company in the world, but also trying to be sustainable as much as we can. So this is just one small example, but we're always trying to implement new things every day.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for explaining just another acronym that we are loving. We're using them all the time, and we always try to make sure that we explain them. Taking a look at the time, we're actually at time. I saw a couple more questions coming in, and also one question was, will this session be available as a recording? Well, we do have a couple of recordings available on our YouTube channel, not just in English language, but if you also want to learn some Italian, some German, some French, some Polish, we have a couple of videos available on our YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out, and you'll see a recording of a couple more virtual tours, learning a bit more maybe about each process in your mother tongue if you do speak other languages, just not English. So happy to direct you to that one, but we also have an US version and a UK version as well, so make sure to check that out. First of all, thanks to both you, Kate, and you, Fede, for joining the virtual tour today from your respective sites. We hope you did enjoy today's tours. We liked it, hope you did so too. We are kindly asking for your feedback, so make sure to look into your inbox. In a couple of minutes, you will get another email saying thank you once again and asking for your feedback. There's a little survey link. We're looking forward to get your feedback on things that we can improve. What did you enjoy about today's tours? We are always excited to hear from you. We always want to continuously improve ourselves. Like Fede said, every day is day one, even for tours. So we're looking forward to that. Otherwise, thanks again for joining from wherever you were calling in. I saw a couple of comments from around the globe. Just another one that I saw from someone in Singapore. So that is exciting having you on this tour already. I think it's somewhat late afternoon for you, so that's exciting. Anyway, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day from wherever you're calling in, and see you next time on this virtual tour. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
That was pretty interesting in my opinion. It was also nice to know that it was actually live, since the question I posed was one of the ones that was answered. If you like this tour, why not simply book your own? and you get to look at it at your own pace and in real time. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope you enjoyed this virtual tour of the Amazon fulfillment centers. And guess what? We got part number 3, not part
Yeah.
2. So sorry about that.
You can do part number 2 next week.
We skipped part number 2.
Yeah. Anyway, that was very interesting, and it's too bad it's virtual. We can't just go on a tour of our local warehouses and distribution points. I think
they don't do in person anymore. It
No.
always is virtual, but you can sign up for your own tour, as I did.
Yeah. All right. The next item is, I'm just setting it up here and share and make sure I get the right one. There it is. It is PC and laptop ports, but it's also Mac, because Mac has the same ports as the PC. And I did read an article this week that PC means personal computer. So that means Windows or Mac. So when we say PC, we really mean both. So let's take a look at this. PC and laptop ports explained. What are all those connections? I'm Hewie Poplock. Got a new PC or a laptop and wondering what all the ports and connections are for? Here are some of the most common modern connection types, plus some of the older and deprecated connectors you might find on older hardware. Data connectors. These connectors are designed primarily with data transfer in mind. They may also carry audio, power, or a network signal too. There's the USB Type-C. The new ubiquitous connector USB-C is a fully reversible 24-pin digital data connector. It can be used as a USB data port, including USB 3.1 and above, as a video connection using DisplayPort alternate mode or HDMI alternate mode, as part of the Thunderbolt 3 or 4 specification, or as a means of charging peripherals such as USB power delivery. Not all USB-C cables are built alike, so make sure you pick a good one. As we race towards a future where USB-C dominates, you can upgrade your older cables with cheap adapters. The Thunderbolt. The modern Thunderbolt 3 and 4 ports share the USB-C connector, but they're not necessarily the same. Many computers feature a small lightning bolt symbol next to the Thunderbolt ports, and some laptops, like the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro, designate all USB-C ports as Thunderbolt connectors. Thunderbolt is an active technology, which means it has electrical circuitry in its connectors that are capable of high transfer speeds up to 80 gigabit per second on Thunderbolt 4. Older Thunderbolt 1 and 2 connectors were different, featuring a non-reversible connector. You can buy adapters for those devices for use with modern Thunderbolt ports, though the speed remains capped at the oldest specification. Thunderbolt has some neat tricks that USB specifications lack, like the ability to daisy chain connections. What about Thunderbolt versus USB-C? Well, the main difference between Thunderbolt and USB-C is that Thunderbolt has USB-C capabilities. However, USB-C does not have Thunderbolt capabilities. The Thunderbolt port is designed similarly to the USB-C connector. However, if you connect a Thunderbolt connection to a USB-C port, your possibilities will be limited. Thunderbolt technology offers a maximum data transfer rate of up to 40 gigabits per second, while USB-C offers a maximum data transfer rate of up to 10 gigabits per second. This means that the Thunderbolt is more than 4 times faster than USB-C. If you need to transfer large files quickly, Thunderbolt is the better option. USB Type A. Deprecated but still present on many devices, USB-A is what many of us simply refer to as USB for most of our lives. It's a non-reversible conductor that was first introduced in 1996 to replace slower and more cumbersome connectors like serial and parallel ports. Over the course of USB's lifespan, transfer rates have gone from 1.5 microbits per second to 80 gigabits per second in USB 4 version 2.0. USB-A connectors were deprecated after USB 3.1 in 2013, which means the maximum speed they're capable of is 10 gigabits per second. Many modern devices still use a USB-A port for compatibility, but you're better off buying and using USB-C where possible. Ethernet, IEEE 802.3. An Ethernet port connects your computer to a wired network connection. Standardized in 1983, Ethernet began life with paltry speeds of just under 3 megabits per second, with the latest standard capable of 400 gigabits per second with speeds of 1.6 terabytes per second expected by 2025. To take advantage of the higher speed, you'll need the network interface on your computer, a router, and cabling to all be compatible with your desired speed. The plug is often referred to as an RJ45. Power connectors. The following is a selection of common power connectors that you can find on a desktop and notebook computer. Be aware that USB-C, listed above or talked about earlier, has become a common power connector for many laptops and peripherals. IEC 6320 C13 and 14, the kettle plug. Found on the back of most desktop computers and many game consoles, this connector is informally known as the kettle plug for its use in other consumer electronics. They also are commonly used for amplifiers, audio and video equipment, monitors, and other peripherals. You never knew it had a name. IEC 6320 C5 and C6, the cloverleaf. Like the kettle plug, the cloverleaf is another common power adapter, but one that's more commonly found on external laptop power adapters. The C6 male connector connects it to a C5 socket on the power brick itself, with a plug on the other end to connect to main power. There is a thinner adapter cable that connects to the laptop. The DC barrel connector, available on a vast range of sizes, a DC or direct current barrel connector or jack is used to connect an external laptop power adapter to the laptop in question. These are less common than they once were since the arrival of USB power delivery, but many laptops still use them. An Apple-specific power connector, MagSafe, made its return with the 2021 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro revision, with the 2022 MacBook Air redesign, also including support for the format. The connector uses a magnet to hold it securely in place, with the magnet connection easily breaking away if the cord gets snagged, preventing your laptop from being dragged off the desk. MagSafe also appeared on older Apple computers, but disappeared for around 5 years, starting in 2016. MacBook models with MagSafe were introduced in 2021 and later used MagSafe 3, which is a different shape to the MagSafe 2, which launched in 2012, which itself is incompatible with the original MagSafe that debuted in 2006. Video connectors. Want to carry video from your computer to a monitor, television, or projector? You'll probably be using one of the following, you're seeing on the screen is a VGA connector. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Display port. Commonly found on computer monitors, but not televisions, graphic cards, and laptops, the display port, or DP connector, is a non-reversible 20-pin digital video connection. The standard was first released in 2006 as a means to replace DVI, VGA, and other outdated connectors. Like USB, the standard has evolved over the years to support higher bandwidth connections that allow for greater resolutions and faster refresh rates. DP 1.4, introduced in 2016, is arguably the most common iteration, supporting up to 32.4 gigabits per second, plus optional DSC, or display stream compression. DP 2.0 launched in late 2022 with a bandwidth of up to 80 gigabits per second. In addition to video, the standard can also transport audio and USB data. HDMI Type A, short for High Definition Multimedia Interface. HDMI is one of the most ubiquitous digital video connector in the world. Utilizing a 19-pin connector, HDMI was first introduced in 2002 and has gone through several iterations, introducing higher bandwidth capacities for greater resolutions, frame rates, and additional features like 3D and HDR video. The HDMI 2.1 standard caps out at 48 gigabits per second, capable of up to 10K video at 100 hertz and a DSC, display stream compression. The standard is necessary to take advantage of 4K HDR video at 120 hertz on consoles like PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and graphics cards like the NVIDIA 30 and 40 series. It also includes built-in support for variable refresh rate, or VRR, using HDMI adaptive sync. HDMI transfers video, audio, Ethernet, and CEC, consumer electronics control, data for controlling other connected devices. Technologies like ARC, which is audio return channel, are built on the HDMI standard. There's the standard HDMI, the mini, and the micro. VGA, outdated but still found on many recent devices from the last 5 years or so, particularly TVs. VGA stands for Video Graphics Array, and its 15-pin analog video connector was especially common on chunky old CRT monitors, projectors, and early flat screen LCDs. Though old, VGA managed to stick around long past its due as a PC port on many smart TVs. Audio connectors. Audio is now often bundled with video connections like HDMI and DisplayPort, but dedicated audio connections are still present on most computers with both input and output. Commonly used for 2-channel stereo audio and microphone input, the 3.5 millimeter jacks are common on all types of computers. You'll find them on the back of a desktop, often with separate output and input ports, on the front of the PC cases, and on laptops with mixed-use ports. Typically speaking, green ports are used for stereo output, while the red ports signify a microphone input. These outputs are integrated digital to analog converters, or DACs, which make it easy to connect your computer to an external speaker or an old amplifier. Optical, or SPDIF, and Toslink. The optical cables carry a digital audio signal using a special fiber optic cable. Toslink is short for Toshiba Link and is named after the company that created the standard. SPDIF stands for Sony Philips Digital Interface, and it refers to the software component of the standard. though they deliver a cleaner sound than analog connectors and are not subject to interference from radio frequencies or ground loops. Optical does have some drawbacks. Plastic optical cables are usually limited to 5 or 10 meters in length due to the potential for signal degradation, and cables can become damaged from being bent or compressed. The Kensington lock. Not really a port at all. A Kensington lock slot allows for you to attach a keyed or combination lock to your laptop to prevent it from being stolen. Some outdated or uncommon ports. The following ports may be found on older hardware, but are rarely included on the modern devices. The PS2 connections, IEEE 1394 Firewire, DVI, parallel ports. The port got its name from the method of data transfer, where bits of data could be transferred simultaneously in parallel. Parallel was eventually superseded by USB, particularly USB 2.0 and integrated network interfaces. The PC card. Serial ports. Like parallel, serial got its name from the method of data transfer, where data is sent and received sequentially rather than simultaneously. And here are many ports on the side of a lot of the laptops. The optical connector. As a summary, here are the most common laptop ports. PC and laptop ports explained. What are all those connections? I'm Hewie Poplock. On one of those slides, I have a very big mistake, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but the one where it talked about serial ports. It talked about the VGA port. I had circled a port on the back of that machine, and it was a VGA port. It wasn't a serial port. But the serial port had 2 rows, and the VGA port has 3. Anyway, that's it, and lots of links. Lots of ports and lots of plugs to know, and hopefully that helped you get an idea of what some of those things are that you plug and unplug. And next we're going to talk to Ray's got something for us on a new computer he bought. Ray?
Yeah, thank you very much, Hewie, and you've taught me some names of that I only knew initials of in the past, so thank you very much. All right, the title of this is Small but Powerful, the Mini PC. To me, this is a new style of a desktop. So a little background first. Last year, I replaced my main desktop with a new PC. Now, the older PC was a Windows 10, did not meet the Windows 11 requirements, so I decided that would be a good use for my first Plex server to house all my media, and I've talked about this in the past. Now, a neat feature of using Plex is the ability to share the stored media with family living elsewhere, or simply view it myself when away from home. Now, the old computer was acceptable for viewing movies on different televisions in my household, but the processor was not able to handle the required transcoding for offsite viewing. So what is transcoding? Well, movies are typically encoded at 20 to 40 megabytes per second, but my ISP only provides an upload speed of 8 megabits per second, which is much too slow to stream a movie to watch outside of my home. So what happens is the Plex transcoder software will reduce the size of the movie file to a speed that can be transmitted, for example, to my phone, so I could watch the movie if I'm away from home. The process relies heavily on the CPU. Now, the good news is most Intel chips utilize a feature called QuickSync, which is the hardware brand's dedicated video encoding and decoding system. However, my old HP tower uses an AMD chip that does not have such capability. Now, my next step was to purchase a new computer specifically to use as my Plex server, and it had to have certain characteristics. So these are the considerations that I wanted for my new Plex server PC. I wanted it to have the Intel processor with QuickSync. I needed to go and look up, make sure that the one I chose does have it, because not everyone has it, but most of the newer ones do. It had to be a smaller size than the HP tower I was using. I wanted it to have Windows 11. I wanted it to have the ability to expand. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So for me, not expensive was, I was looking for a new computer that was going to be under $400 for this purpose. So after a fair amount of research, I chose to go with a mini PC. So what is a mini PC? Unlike a laptop, a mini PC does not have a screen or keyboard, so the layout is quite small. I purchased a Beelink SEI8, and the physical dimensions of this unit are smaller than 5 inches long by 5 inches wide, and it's less than 2 inches high. And the components include the Intel 8th generation Coffee Lake i5. It's a 3.8 speed processor. It comes with a 500 gigabyte solid state M.2 NVMe drive with room to add up to another 2 terabyte, 2.5 inch SATA solid state drive. It comes with 16 gig of RAM, but it's expandable to 32. And the ports included a LAN, some of the ports we just heard from Hewie, a LAN, 4 USB 3.0, 2 HDMI 4K displays, and 1 USB-C. As Hewie pointed out, this is the USB that's going to be taking over as time goes on. And the operating system was Windows 11 Pro, not Home, but Windows 11 Pro. So this is currently listed on Amazon for $359, although I paid less because I was able to obtain a $40 discount coupon, and I had some other credits due me. So a picture is worth how many words? So here you'll see a visual comparison of the size of the mini PC on the bottom there with the HP tower. That's all necessary to give you an idea of how small these units actually are. All the connectivity I will need from top to bottom. So on the top picture, you have 2 USB 3.0 and then 1 USB-C. There's the Kensington lock that we just mentioned a little bit ago for security if you had this in an office environment, and the power switch. And on the bottom picture, there's your LAN port plus 2 more USB 3.0 and 2 HDMI with the 4K capability. And there's the power connection along with multiple cooling vents. In the box also were the following. We have 2 HDMI connectors, and there's a really short one, and that one is for use if you want to mount this mini PC to the back of a monitor. Sometimes the backs of monitors will have different available to screw in, and that you use that much smaller HDMI connector. And then there's a ribbon connection when you're inserting another hard drive, another solid state drive in the mini computer. There's a bracket for mounting the back to this unit to the back of a monitor, and then there's the 2-part power cord. And the user manual and hard disk. It actually has its own little user manual and a hard disk installation guide. I didn't show those. So this is the end of part 1. I just wanted to kind of give you an introduction to this now. I'm going to have a part 2 once I have the new mini computer installed and set up, and I'll demonstrate what that's like. So stay tuned. And this is the end of part 1. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. As I mentioned to you, I have a NUC from Intel. It's the next unit of computing, NUC, and it's the same size, and it comes with the holes that you can mount on the back of your monitor if it was a monitor that could be put on the wall. It's comparable to that. And so that I have it hanging on the back of my monitor, so it's not on my desk. And I love that size, but the one I have was about $1,100 more than yours. So cheap wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for power, and this looks like a really nice computer, or a second computer for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm going to use it now as a Plex server, but the fact that it has Windows 11 Pro, most of the computers that I have in the house are Windows 10 and are not capable of running Windows 11. So I'm always looking to buy something now that will work for me going forward.
Okay. At this time, we're going to turn off and say goodbye to our YouTube people. And we want to thank you for joining us. If there's enough room, you can come over to our Zoom meeting and join us for the music and then for the Q&A. But for now, YouTubers, thank you for joining us. The rest of you are in for a treat, the musical treat of Ray Baxter's selection, and I'll turn it back to Ray.
Your Hit Parade, the weekly television program. How many of you remember that? So as a young lad growing up in the Bronx, New York, during the early 1950s, there was not much music in my boyhood household, at least not until I was gifted at age 11 my first phonograph, or a Victrola, as my mother would call it. When the radio was on, my mother enjoyed mystery stories like Inner Sanctum, and my father often could be heard listening to a New York Yankees baseball game. But there was one weekly music-related show on Saturday nights that the family would watch on television for sure. It was called Your Hit Parade. And the following 3 paragraphs are from ChatGPT. Your Hit Parade was a television show that aired from 1950 to 1959, showcasing the most popular songs of the week. The show featured a group of performers who sang the top songs accompanied by a live orchestra. The songs were ranked based on their popularity and sales, and the performers would sing them in order from least to most popular. Now, the show was hosted by various personalities throughout its run, including Snooky Lanson, Dorothy Collins, and Giselle McKenzie. Now, note Russell Arms is also shown in the picture above. Each episode would begin with the host introducing the songs and the performers, and then the music would begin. The performers would often wear elaborate costumes and perform choreographed dances to add to the entertainment value of the show. In conclusion, Your Hit Parade was a beloved television show that provided a unique and entertaining way for audiences to experience the most popular songs of the week. Although it only ran for 10 years, its impact on music and television continues to be felt to this day. Now, for me, it's hard to believe, but this show actually was the forerunner of television programs like MTV and VH1 and all the music-related television programs we currently enjoy. My guess is as the new rock and roll genre became firmly entrenched by 1959, this led to a diminished popularity of the program's pop music format, thus causing the show's cancellation. So with a bit of video editing on my part, here is the Your Hit Parade episode of September 18, 1956, originally broadcast earlier that year in February with, and I love his name, Snooky Lanson, singing 16 Tons. Now, the video link below is the same hit song as originally done by Tennessee Ernie Ford. But let's see if we can come up with, how many of you remember watching that television show? I bet you.
I definitely do. Yes. Brings back some great memories, and I always was disappointed in the quality compared to the actual song, but you couldn't see videos of any of the singers of the popular songs in those days.
Right, unless you were watching Ed Sullivan, but even your Hit Parade predated the Ed Sullivan Show and some of the other variety shows of the day.
All right, thanks, Ray. As usual, great choice, and certainly aroused some memories and me, so I'm sure in others as well. We've got some hands up. I think we're into our Q&A or comments on any of the stories that we had today. Ron, your hand is up first.
Thanks, Huey. I just wanted to remind everybody that I put in the chat the premiere video link, and the 3 selections this week will be, of course, Huey, you're talking about puny signs. Interesting. It was an interesting show you did. I'm going to talk about HP Instant Ink, and it's a great service. And Huey's all going to also talk about PhoneLink. So those are all coming up in our premiere video. Just click the link and it will be starting at 1:30. The other thing Huey, I wanted to let everyone know, this is sort of a Canadian tip. I, of course, live in Canada, but I have a US Amazon account, and I buy all my clothes on Amazon. I'm sort of picky, and size and all that sort of stuff seems to work well for me. But the Amazon USA and Amazon.com, the clothes are just so much cheaper. Like if you are a Canadian, you can go to the Amazon.com and purchase the clothes, and they're often 70% less than the Canadian site. And you don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a Prime member, because you're going to be paying a shipping charge, which is a global shipping charge, which is not very much money. And it was interesting, Bob, in the video today, when she talked about how things are shipped and where they're shipped from. The beauty of this is that you get global, this expedited global shipping, which is next to nothing, and it comes like really quick right to your doorstep by air. Like it's really a fast system that goes right through customs and everything. So it is a really good system. So the tip is, if you want to buy your clothes on or buy something on Amazon.com and you live in Canada, yes, you will have to pay a global shipping, but it's still far less than the cost of Amazon.ca. So give it a try and see how you do. But that's how I buy all my clothes.
Thanks, Ron. Greg, you have your hand up. You're muted. You're still muted.
Oh,
there you go.
Geez, duh. Was that Bill Collins? This is for Ray. Good sounds. Was that Bill Collins on the piano, if you know?
I don't know. All I know is Snooky Lanson.
Yep, I remember.
Good name.
Drew, you were next.
All right. Right in the middle of the first presentation on security, I got my monthly notice from Malwarebytes, and they just said, we got ChatGPT to write ransomware. We asked ChatGPT to help us write some ransomware. It threw aside its safeguards and wrote some terrible code. So people are trying it.
Yep, absolutely. Bob, comment?
Well, it's actually successfully already done that. So
Okay,
yeah, there's good, there's bad. You know,
Yep.
that's just the way life is.
Steve, your hand is up.
Yeah, good question for Ray. That mini PC, what version of the PCI Express bus did it have?
I don't know that offhand. I have to go back and look it up. If I have your email address, Steve, I'll look it up for you and send you a note.
Okay, can you see if you can find any that have the PCI Express 5? That's the latest one that came out.
Yeah, this one is probably, based on the processor, 8th generation. Intel now has what, 10th or 11th generation. So this probably was built with components that are maybe 3 years old, 4 years old. I noticed that the Wi-Fi version isn't 6, but it's 5. So it's slightly older components, but they're fine for what I'm going to use it for.
Does it have a brand name?
B-Link. If you go on YouTube, you'll see many, many videos about B-Link mini computers, mini
Could
PCs.
you swap out motherboards on it?
I don't think my fingers are small enough. No, this, there's advantages and disadvantages. That is not an advantage that you can do. But you can, as I said, change the, you can add another hard drive. You can increase the memory. In my next video, I'll show you what the mini PC looks like opened up, and you'll be able to see the inside. Again, it's 5 inches by 5 inches.
Terry, you're next.
Yes, when Ray introduced the Your Hit Parade, I have about 300, well, I have over 300 vinyls here in my living room. And I ran off, I have a vinyl of the Your Hit Parade. If I remember right, it has a Lucky Strike emblem on the front of it. But also enjoyed Tennessee Ernie Williams with that 16-ton. It took me back to high school.
Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yeah, Tennessee Ernie Ford. That took me back to my high school days. We had a biology camp, and we went to a state park, and I remember the gang sitting around singing 16-ton. Thank you, Ray.
Oh, thank you, Terry, for the comments. I appreciate them. That's what I was trying to do. Bring back a little bit of memory.
Ron, you have your hand up.
Yeah,
Again.
I just want to ask Ray, I'm sorry, you probably mentioned this in your presentation, but I just forgot. How big's the hard drive in that mini PC?
500 gigabyte with the newest style of hard drive, which looks like a memory stick, but you can add, in addition to that, up to a 2 terabyte, 2.5-inch solid state drive as well.
Well, you could probably plug anything into it, right?
Oh, like yeah, absolutely. But as far as if you wanted, just in that 5 by 5 inch little container, you can have that set up.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think the difference in the motherboard and the chip that's in it, in mine, I have a 4 terabyte SSD inside of mine. So I think being newer has that capability. And also, I think yours tops out at 32 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm running 64. I'm running 64 gigabytes of RAM on my NUC.
As you said, you paid a little bit more.
Yeah, and that was 3 years ago.
Wow.
Neil, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'm looking at Amazon now, and they have a B-Link Mini for $160.
Yep, those are I considered those, but those are underpowered. It's I wanted, as far as a Plex server goes, the i5 style or of an Intel chip has been highly recommended by Plex as the one that you can use. You don't need an i7, but an i3 is a little bit too. So that's why I specifically looked for a mini PC that had the i5 chip.
Okay. Yeah,
and you also have to know that you do need to supply a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse,
which we all have in our closets.
Yeah, a lot of us do. And then you can plug with all of the plugs that are on there. You can add external hard drives and other things that you want. So it's even a second monitor.
Yeah, well, I was smart enough to, when I started taking my media and converting it to computer files, rather than saving most of it on the hard drives of the computer, I actually save them on a 6 terabyte and a 12 terabyte drives, so that I plug in. So I'm not going to have to worry about copying everything over one more time. I'm just going to be able to plug those hard drives in.
Yeah, and having the USB-C, if you've got a high-speed external drive with a USB-C, you're going to get a lot more speed between them, and so it has a lot of advantages there. Carl, you have your hand up.
Yeah, a couple questions. Ray, on the specs on the computer, it had a display port connection. Do you have to have get a new monitor, a display port?
No, they're HDMI. They feature something that allows a certain kind of display resolution, but they're regular HDMI connections.
Yeah, and there is DisplayPort to HDMI converters that are very inexpensive as well.
The other thing is, over the years you had model, you know, the PC, 3, and then you had the 5, and then you went to a 7 for the Intel processors. I noticed they're not doing the 7s anymore. They're going to 5s, and you have different speeds apparently.
Still
On the
have
Intel-
sevens.
Pardon?
They still have sevens.
No,
i7s.
I know that, but the new computers like the one Ray has, and I'm getting a similar one to that, has a PC 3 processor, Intel.
Yeah, you
Well,
can
it
get
depends
get
on
an
what you're
i9
willing to
too.
depends on what you're willing to pay for. 3
Yeah,
is the
and there's a-
bottom, 5 is the middle, and 7 is the high end.
And the newer ones, there's even one higher. I think it's 9.
9 is correct.
Yeah.
I9.
Yep.
Well, I'm going by when I go to Costco and I look at the laptops, I never see a 7 anymore.
That's only for costs, I believe. Ron, you have your hand up.
Well, Carl just mentioned something that, and he mentioned the word laptop. And again, if you don't need a laptop, you don't need the battery in the laptop, then that makes Ray's option just perfect, right? Because we don't, you know, if you don't move and you don't need a laptop, then you don't need a battery. And Hewie and I talk about this all the time with Chrome boxes, right, Hewie? We talk about
Yes.
Chrome boxes on our Learning Chromebook, because for those of you who don't need to move your computer, then a Chrome box is you eliminate the battery problem of a laptop. So Chrome boxes are an option as well. That's all
I imagine they're still around, the KVM switches, keyboard, mouse, and video. I go back a long ways with mine. It was back in the VGA days, but I would imagine they have them now with HDMI capabilities. Can someone fill me in on that? But the KVM switches means you can have 2 computers and only one monitor, and you can switch back and forth between it. Same thing with the keyboard and the mouse. You're using the same thing, but all you're doing with the switch is switching from one computer to the other and then utilizing the same devices.
I do that, Huey, with a big 32-inch monitor. If I've got a computer that I bring into my office and want to plug in, I just attach it to the KVM and press the button.
Is the KVM for video? What's it using?
It's HDMI.
Okay, good. All right, Dorothy, you have your hand up.
I was just going to comment on what you're discussing. I have a KVM, but it's VGA, and I've got 4 computers hooked up to my monitor and keyboard and mouse. So the problem was, though, when I got my new Windows 11 computer and the display port, anyways, long story. I hope they have USB or HDMI ones that I can get in the future. But I didn't write great presentation on the mini computer, Ray. I just didn't write down the brand, if you could tell me, because I'm looking for one for a friend.
I'm about to put a link in the chat of the actual unit I purchased from Amazon
perfect.
for everybody's
Thank you.
purposes.
Thank you.
And that'll list all the specs, including that's maybe Steve asked about.
Great, thanks.
Richard, your hand is up.
Yes, I have a question. You just mentioned a Chromebox. I've never heard of that. I have an old Chromebook. Can I plug a Chromebox in an old Chromebook? Is that how it works?
No, it's in place. It's just like the mini computer that Ray has. It's a box that is your computer. It's just a small format, and you're using it like you would a big desktop computer, but it's small in size. And then you plug a monitor into it, a keyboard, and a mouse into it.
Great, I'll buy that because my Chromebook is almost about had it for the date. I think it has 6 months to go and then it's over. I'll check that out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, and if you do a search on Chromeboxes, there are different brands of them out there.
Great, thank you.
Dick Vogel.
Ray, how do you back up your music files?
Just copy them to a separate hard drive. In other words, wherever they're stored that I use mostly, I'll just make sure I copy and paste them to another hard drive.
No cloud backup?
I have some, and there's no good reason I have for not doing a lot of cloud backup, but it's faster for me at the speeds that I have to have them on a separate drive and just go back and forth as I need them. I have one old laptop. It's an old HP 17-inch laptop that's built where it accommodates 2 hard drives. So I get it built into it. So I have two terabyte hard drives in that. That is my music PC, and that's the one I use almost all the time for music needs.
Ray, how many terabytes of music do you have?
3.
Okay, so you would need to purchase extra space on any of the cloud storage places to keep that as a backup, but and getting it to it is going to be extremely time consuming.
Yeah.
I know I use iDrive for my backup, and they sent me a hard drive, and then I backed everything up to the hard drive, sent it back to them, and then they put it online for me to save days and days of uploads. But I don't know if I guess there's probably drives that they can send that are big enough to handle 3 terabytes. So that would be a faster way of getting them all up there if you ever needed to do that. Ron, your hand is up again.
I put a link in the chat on an example of a Chrome box, but probably the best, there are a lot of different models and makes. So if Amazon's probably the best place to look for them. If you just do a search on Amazon and put Chrome box in there, you'll find lots of choices.
Thank you very much. I'll sure do that.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. This has been a good meeting today. Lots of good information for all of you and a lot of good questions based on it. And when there's lots of questions, that indicates that there was some interest in our topics. And we're glad you've been here. Don't forget Tech for Senior Live on Thursday, where we talk about the latest technology news and just kind of banter back and forth some information. Hopefully I am going to be there, but Ron will be there along with Bob and the rest of the gang. I have jury duty, and I don't know that I'll get home in time if they decide to not pick me for a while, or they decide to stick me on a jury. I might not make it Thursday, but it will be a good meeting. Also, don't forget Wednesday night is the STUG main meeting with Bob G talking about cybersecurity A to Z. Then on Sunday, I'll be doing the CFCS STUG Windows SIG that you're all invited to. And with that, Ron, any closing comments?
No, we'll see everybody maybe on Thursday for our Thursday show. And we look forward to the same time, same next week.
Yeah, in about 3 minutes, or about 13 minutes will be the premiere. And don't forget that. And it's the punny signs based on puns and plays on words.
Oh,
so
it's
yeah. So if you're into puns and plays on words and signs, it's a great video. All right. With that, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And we'll see you soon.